The LinkedIn co-founder said work-life balance is a red flag.
How dare you?
All right, so let's figure out what's going on here. So let me switch over here. Throw up 5 minutes on the clock for this one. So LinkedIn's co-founder Reid Hoffman says seeking work-life balance is a red flag that you're not committed to winning. What?
Congratulations, you played yourself.
All right? Drop me in the comments. Do you agree? Without even reading the article yet, is seeking work-life balance a red flag that you're not committed to winning? If you go into an interview, are you going to be asking about work-life balance? Me, I personally have no idea what work-life balance is because whether I'm at work, whether I'm at home, I'm always working, whether it's on my personal stuff or whether it is on work stuff, right? I'll do a whole live stream to figure out how to do something at work, you know? All right, so it says, all right, let's go to, and this is brought to us by Yahoo Finance, courtesy of Fortune magazine. Yes. All right, so real quick, let's see. Reid Hoffman, the visionary behind LinkedIn, is not a believer in work-life balance for serious startup entrepreneurs. With the exception of one nightly ritual, he expected employees to constantly be working. Says the LinkedIn co-founder Reid Hoffman has a reality check for entrepreneurs. If you're serious about starting a company, you should say goodbye to binge watching your favorite Netflix show after dinner or sleeping in on the weekends. You need to be on the work grind all hours of the day. There are 24 hours in the day. How are you going to use your 24 hours? That is a fair question. How do you plan to use your 24 hours in a day? Right? If I ever heard a founder talking about this is how I have a balanced life, they're not committed to winning.
Bruh.
Hoffman told Stanford University's How to Start a Startup class in 2014. The only really great founders are the ones who are like, I'm going to put literally everything into doing this. Everything goes into it. There's no, what is plan B? Complete plan A. All right. While Hoffman's tough love when it comes to work-life balance is nothing new, the clip has recently resurfaced on social media and it's now racking up thousands of likes. Can you believe that? Because usually it's like, oh my God, I need work-life balance because my mental health and I just want to go out and watch a show on Netflix and have a great time, which is totally fair. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. But if you are not reaching the heights that you want to reach, or if you are building your own business, then your own business is a 24-hour job. It's a 24-hour job, right? It says, and even after the pandemic, when Americans realized that the constant work grind was hurting their mental health, his opinions they have not changed.
They ain't believing us.
You are by nature dead as a startup, he said late last year on the Diary of a CEO podcast. Work-life balance is not the startup game. It's not the startup game. Startups can't afford to take time off from working except for this one daily ritual, Hoffman says. Even though 1/3 of employees in LinkedIn's early days had children, taking time off wasn't an option with the exception of dinner at home. Go home for dinner, right? When we started LinkedIn, we started with people who had families. So we said, sure, go home and have dinner with your family. Then after dinner with your family, open up your laptop and get your back in the shared work experience and keep on working, keep on grind. Okay, would you do it? If you were part of the LinkedIn startup, right? When they were like just a few employees, would you go home, have dinner with your family, and then get back to work after dinner? The question is, what is your desire to win? Here's like if you're part of a startup, right? And you're concerned about, oh, I got to do this, I got to do that, my family this, my family that, maybe you should just get a 9 to 5. Because as we read the other day, people who were part of the Klarna startup, when they were starting up, they turned into millionaires. When the Klarna IPO went through, they made so many different millionaires. But do you think that in the early days of Klarna that there were people who had work-life balance? Because as part of a startup, you're
Get a
wearing
move on. Back to
many
work.
different
Get it up.
hats.
Let's go. Come on. Get a move on. Back to work. Back to work. Back to work.
You are wearing many different hats. You can be the product owner, you can be the developer, you could be the QA person, you could be the CEO, all in one hat, all at one time, right? It says, while that may sound brutal in today's culture, it was even worse when Hoffman was helping to found PayPal. There, dinner was served at the office. What? And I'll tell you this, I heard stories about the company that I work for, their early days. It was the same thing. It was the same thing. I don't think there's a startup that is different because when you are using your own money to start your company and you have investors who are believing in you and you just have to keep on getting that money, you have to have all hands in, right? The people that think that's toxic don't understand the startup game and they're just wrong. He said they are wrong. The game is intense, and by the way, if you don't do that, eventually you're out of a job. For those who disagree, working at a startup is a choice, Hoffman said, 100%. And for me personally, I don't see anything wrong with working at a startup. If you want to have the opportunity to learn, to grow, there's so many people who are new to the game and it's like, oh, if you knew how many times that people come to me, right? And they say, "Oh, I want to get in tech, but I want it to be remote." I'm like, and they have absolutely zero experience. It's not going to work out that way. It is not going to work out that way. You When you want to join an industry and you have no experience, you have to give everything, all of you, to that industry, to that company, so that they can trust you, they can believe in you, and they can give you opportunity to grow. But if you're gonna come into an industry thinking that, oh, it's gonna be so easy, these boot camps, these tech boot camps, that's how they get you. They have you believing it's gonna be so easy. You could work remote. You pay them $10,000 and then you can't get one job. Like Samantha was saying earlier, you apply to 5,000 jobs and you don't even get one callback because I want to work remote and I want it to be easy. I want to work 9 to 5 and I want to go and play at the park with my kids. But I want to do it for a startup because the big companies, they're not even looking at you. The startups might give you a chance, but you have to give it all. You have to give it all to them. But then when you do, 10 years down the road, when they IPO, you might become a millionaire. If you don't become a millionaire, at least you'll have an experience to go work for one of those bigger companies where you might get some work-life balance. But the reward on the other side is second to none. The 100 or so first employees at LinkedIn don't need to work anymore. Like I was just saying, Microsoft purchased a professional networking platform for 26.2 billion, yes, billion dollars, right? In 2016. Fortune has contacted Hoffman for comment. Says, as a leader, the pain must be embraced if you want to find success. That's a fact. Early mornings, late nights, sometimes your nutrition, your health takes a hit because you are giving everything, everything to winning. When you look at somebody like David Goggins, broken knees, broken feet, he's a warrior. If you want to work for a startup, if you want to win at anything, you have to have a warrior mentality, a warrior mindset. You have to give it all. If you want to win it all, you have to give it all. Simple as that. Simple as that. There are no days off. Hoffman's words resonate with leaders across all parts of the tech industry who sometimes have to substitute work-life balance to overcome challenges. There is no work-life balance. Take VSCO, for example. Founded in 2011, the social media company rode a wave of popularity after the VSCO girl trend and was later valued at $550 million. Good Lord. However, when Eric Whitman took over as the CEO in 2023, the photo app was trying to shake off its image as being just a fad. Under Witzman's leadership, the company finally turned a profit in 2024, and he recently told Fortune that accepting there will to be stress, that accepting there will be stress and long nights in that process is key. And you have a conversation with your employees. Like, look, this is what it's gonna be. Do you want to join us or not? And I think that I think that startups when they're hiring and bringing people on, they have to set realistic expectations. Like, look, it is gonna be like, you're gonna be wearing many hats. We're gonna have late nights, early mornings. We can try to accommodate things that you need to do, but there's no balance. There will be no balance. What is balance? What is balance at the end of the day, right? What is balance? Because something's gonna suffer. Something is always gonna suffer, and it's how badly do you want to win, right? Says there's a lot of pain along that journey. He said you got to embrace it. He says that the need to grind extra hours extends to the staff because success doesn't come from just the top. Yup, agreed. All the people I've invested in, they get what it takes to be modest overachievers, embrace the grit, work together with a bunch of other really great like-minded people, and are just willing to grind their way through to find those wins and to grow that into something that is increasingly successful. And think about it like this, right? When LinkedIn got started, whatever year that was, the first 100 people that was working there, and I'm pretty sure they had stock options and everything like that. When Microsoft bought them from 26.2 billion, they never have to work a day in their lives. But they had, like, for however long that was, they had long hours to work. They had early mornings, critical issues. They probably had times that they thought LinkedIn was going to go out of business, and they just worked, worked, worked. They invested so much of their time for probably a modest salary, but maybe 10 years later, cha-ching or cha-ching, right? So it's a part of the game. But I'll say on the other side, right? If you do not want to be part of the game, if you don't want to be part of that, like, of that, investing your time now into a company, and hopefully, because it might not work out, but they might get bought out. You can make a lot of money. If you don't want to be, if you don't want to be part of that game, you cannot complain when you just keep your same old job where you're making a modest amount and you don't elevate. You don't, like, you might be in the same spot forever, and that is your choice to make. That is your choice to make, all right? Because when you distill it all down to those generally the attributes that I've seen where you're creating a successful company or a successful product, there it is. So it is what it is.
You said it was Mandy, but it's still the same. Words like bandages that don't stop the pain. I held your words like glass in my hands, sharp truths and smooth demands. You said you meant the cracks I see, but promises break so easily. I trusted the stars, but they all fell down. Every promise made just spins around. The truth feels fake, the lies too real. I'm caught in the loop, I can't unfeel.
I reach, but it slips away. Truths turn shadows in the light of day.
I don't know